let me tell you, if a man falls from 20 meters and a woman falls from 20 meters, biologically the damages are different. There is no breast that is busting. That is so true. You get it. I don't lie to you. From the same height, men and women will fall. Men will get up. Women will still be lying down.
Hi everyone. Welcome to episode 2 of PNC Podcast. Before we start, we just want to say a very big thank you to you all for watching the first episode. We got some really good feedback and really good comments on the first episode. So thank you all so much for tuning in. And if you haven't watched the first episode yet, Dennis, what are you telling them?
Oh, just go to YouTube, watch it, go on Spotify, listen to it.
For sure. And please subscribe to the channel as well on YouTube. We're on Instagram now as well. So please go on Instagram and follow us at PNC Podcast. So yeah, stay tuned for episode 2 today. Okay, so today we are going to do something a little bit different. We got some really good feedback on some of the business insights that Dennis shared in the first episode. So before we start today's episode, we just want to share a couple of business insights just within a few minutes. Dennis is going to share some business insights for you all business moguls out there. So business, business. Sorry. So Dennis, what business insights do you have for us today?
Oh, well, yeah, I'll say again that people really got back to me with great feedback on the business examples we gave in the fake it to make it. And since today what we discuss will be random because we don't even know what we discuss. We're actually going to pick and chat.
Yeah.
We pick something and we just chat about it. So we're not sure whether it's going to be business related. So why don't we give some business insight? Yes. So if you don't know, TikTok now has a store. TikTok has a store.
Oh, I didn't know that.
What that means is they are trying to compete with Amazon. You know, when people go on Amazon, they just go to get stuff, that they want and they buy. So Amazon is a platform. I know everybody knows, but just for context, it's a platform where you just go to see goods and buy them. TikTok is providing the same thing, but now they are providing creative. So imagine Amazon having creators who just run ads or do creatives on the products that are being sold. TikTok has the platform already. So all they're doing is they're now asking people to sell, not just with ads, but they should actually open a store.
Oh.
They intend to open a fulfilled by, TikTok, like if it was Amazon, we say an FBA, fulfilled by Amazon, where the goods will come to a point and they will, distribute it. But now they're not doing that. They're just giving a platform. So anybody who has something to sell can go on TikTok, get a store, connect it to one commercial account and 5 other accounts. So what that means is if I have a TikTok store and I have the commercial account, then I have 5 other accounts that can connect to the store and sell. And not only that, they have TikTok store sellers. So when you get your store and it's approved, you can also go to sellers, approach them, send them the product you're selling. So let's say if you're selling shea butter, you can just send them the shea butter. They use it and do creatives, which we call UGC, user-generated content.
Yeah.
In that they can just talk about it. It goes viral, and that is it. And whatever they're going to do is going to come directly to your store. So whatever link they're going to put on their ad, of course, it's going to be tagged as a paid promo.
Yeah.
This is how you're going to pay. You don't have to give them money. It's based on just something related to affiliate marketing, where what they sell is they get a percentage of what they sell. So if you talk to a seller, you can say, I can give you 10% for anything sell. Of course, they are tagged to it, and whatever pitches that comes through their post or their creative, they get the money. So the whole thing is you are not spending anything on customer acquisition cost, that's CAC. All you're doing is you only pay for your advertisement when the good is sold. Unlike running an ad on Google Ad or even on TikTok without a store, where you have to pay before hopefully somebody buys. This one, they need to buy before you pay the creator. So it's a great thing. Imagine having a TikTok store and having 5 sellers. They all make videos. They all get 10,000 views.
Yeah.
That is like 50,000 views.
That's
if
amazing.
10% of them buy, that is 5,000 purchases. So if whatever you're selling is 10 and you get 5,000 purchases, that's 50,000 pounds, dollars or wherever you are. And mind you, the store is not open to all countries. I think now it's in the UK, starting in the US. So it's a very great way to scale up anything you sell.
Definitely, yeah.
Just give it a shot. You don't pay anything, and that's it. And mind you, this is not an ad for TikTok. No, I mean it's just a business insight for you, and it's very new. So early birds will really do well.
Benefit from
the algorithms
will
pick you if you start early, because they're also now trying to learn how these things work. So if you get in fast with a good product, you will become rich.
Great, thank you for that, Dennis. As you can see, if we leave Dennis, we'll talk about business all day. So, but that's the business insight for this episode. Let us know what you think about it. If it's helpful, I think maybe we can look to do it in every episode.
Yeah, we can
so let us know what
it,
you think of it. And if it helps, if you end up opening a TikTok store, comment below and let us know how the store is going. All right. And TikTok, this is not an ad for you, but if you want to sponsor us, we're here for you. Okay, so let's get into today's episode. So like Dennis mentioned earlier, we actually don't know what we're talking about today because we thought we would randomly pick a topic and chat about it. So I've got a plate here that I've put random topics on it. Well, just 2 topics. Dennis and I are going to choose one. So you go first. Dennis.
All right. Okay, I take that.
And I'll pick this one. Let me put my plate back. Okay.
All right. I've got life-changing events.
Okay. So mine says, being a woman, are they misunderstood?
Wow.
Being a woman, are they misunderstood?
Okay.
What do you think?
I think we should go for yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, well.
So, today we are going to talk about being a woman. Are they misunderstood? Okay, so since we picked my topic, I'll go first with the first question, Dennis. So, what's one of the first things that come to your mind when you think of the word woman, or when you think of a woman?
It's difficult. I was just thinking about a female, because when I think of a woman, I think about a grown female. So I say a woman is somebody. Let me talk about physical features that has a vagina.
Okay.
Yes. And what else?
No, but that's true. I don't even know why.
That is the only thing.
That feels or sounds awkward, because that is the truth.
That is the truth. Yeah. Because if I think physically, some men have very, curvy shapes. When some women are not so also curvy. So I can't talk about those things. But the distinct feature is a woman is a person that, has a vagina.
That's true.
And yeah, that is it physically. That's what I can say.
Do you think women are misunderstood?
I believe so. I don't just think.
Okay. I'm a woman, so I may probably have a different view. But you, as a man, do you think women are misunderstood?
Totally. I believe. I don't only think. I believe women are misunderstood.
Why?
To a very large extent. Well, it feels like I'm in the hot seat. All right. So before I go, let me say that I am a feminist, and like I always mention to people close to me, me being a feminist is not trying to say what women are, because I've never been a woman, and I don't intend becoming one. I'm a feminist from the point that I always want to let women know what they are not, or how people who are not women see them, especially men.
Okay.
Yeah. So I believe they are misunderstood because they are most of the time feeling things that they are not able to communicate to. That they are not able to tell people about exactly how they're feeling. I feel they're misunderstood because women have many things going on with them. Growing up, learning in high school, we learn about hormones and everything. And I took keen interest in it, and I realized that, or I found that the hormones in women play differently from that in men.
Yeah.
And
sorry, do you know how long it took me to understand that my hormones actually play a big role in how I feel on a day-to-day basis? I think I was around the age of 19 or almost 20 before I realized that my hormones will sometimes even determine how I feel. Like it will determine like whether I'm going to be kind of sad or happy on a particular day. And it it shocked me. But
Yeah.
continue.
Yeah. So just as I was saying, even now, I think many women have not figured out how to get around their own hormones. Let's not communicating it to another woman or another man. And when being misunderstood is even not just by men, even by their own other women, they get misunderstood because imagine two hormones, women having their hormones flared up in a day. One is not coming to think that this person is not in a good mood today. The other also feel like, okay, yeah, I'm up there, so let's just get on.
Yeah.
And there are a whole lot of attitude. So many men say, or many people say, it's very difficult for women to stay together for a long time. It is just because of these things.
Yeah.
Even them themselves, they cannot understand themselves most of the time. And if you look at relationships, it's clear that men keep relationships with each other more than if women do with other women. And it's so difficult. Even now, what is very painful is that many women prefer to have close relationship to guys instead of their women because they feel like, okay, they get very productive or very insightful chances when it comes to dealing with men instead of with their own women. So yes, they are misunderstood and it's a challenge.
I think for me, as a woman, I feel like I've really evolved in my personhood or in my womanity, if that's even a word. And the main reason why I say that is because I think personally, I misunderstood what a woman was growing up. And I think as I've grown and as my character has evolved, as my understanding around things in the world in general has evolved, it has also changed my view on whether women are misunderstood or not.
Okay.
Personally, I feel like sometimes as women, we don't understand ourselves fully. So then that causes us to feel misunderstood in the world we find ourselves in at different times. Let me give you an example.
Okay.
So when I was around the age of 15, 16, my understanding of what it means to be a girl or a young lady growing up, certain features of my body developing. And I guess the environment that I was in at the time, my understanding was that, I'm growing up, I'm beautiful, I have these certain features. These things are going to attract certain men. So I can use that to my advantage. My understanding was very limited around my womanhood and, kind of like the sacredness of my body, what my body means, the advantages that I have being a woman, the disadvantages that I may have being a woman. I think there was a lot of misunderstanding. And I mentioned environment earlier as well, because at the time, the people that I was around, even the place that I lived at the time, being a woman was also understood quite differently. So at that time, I feel like I didn't really understand myself as a woman. Forward to when I started university and I was around different people, I was around different types of women. And as an individual as well, I was changing in my character too. At that point too, my understanding of what it means to be a woman was also different.
Right.
Now, as a married woman in my late 20s, my understanding of a woman is also very different. And I think personally for me, I like my understanding of womanhood now compared to the other two seasons that I've mentioned.
Okay.
And I think now I wouldn't say that as a woman, I don't understand myself, or even I don't think women are misunderstood. I think I would go with the view that as women, sometimes we don't take the time to understand our own selves. So then it can make it challenging for others to understand us. But I think in general, as in the world that we live in now, the way things are in the world, the way things have been for time, I think it comes across that women are misunderstood. And most of the time, the culprits are you and your people.
Yeah. My gender.
Do you know why? Because I think being a woman and the roles and the purposes that God has given us, there have been different times in the world when those things have been misunderstood by different types of people, by men, by women ourselves, by people in authority who make rules and regulations. Because being a woman have been misunderstood by them at different times. There's this notion that women are in disadvantaged positions in society, there's this notion that women are not seen the same as men. There's this notion that women are not appreciated the same way as men. And I think the whole idea of complementarity is lost. So I like this. I like the concept of complementarity, where basically kind of like the general meaning of it is that men and women are to complement each other. So we're not here to compete against each other. We're not here to think one is better than the other, but we're here to complement each other. And I think that whole idea is lost a bit because I feel like it's been planted in our heads a bit that we're in a disadvantaged position in society. So we have to always be there trying to compete. And I think as a woman, well, speaking for myself anyway, growing up, when that idea got into my head that, oh, as a woman, I'm in a disadvantaged position, it put me into this competition mode where I felt like if I don't go out there and get it for myself, I'm never going to get it, because every man out there is out to get me. It's out to make sure that I fail. And I think that for me, that was a misunderstanding from my part.
Oh, yeah.
And at the same time, it was a misunderstanding that I feel like was caused by society.
Yeah.
The things that were around me, the environment, the people that was around, the things I was seeing in the media, it didn't help. So, like I said, as I grew and my character changed, and as a woman, as I became more understanding of myself, I think those perceptions changed. One other thing that I'll mention that has changed my view on whether women are misunderstood or not is that the more I grew in my relationship with God, the more I drew closer to God, it has really helped me to understand who He created me to be. Sure. And I think who better to go to than the person who created you to help you understand who you are. So for me, as a young woman, drawing closer to God has really helped me to understand who I am as a woman. So I no longer feel like I don't understand myself. I no longer think that women are misunderstood. I think there are still cases in the world that we live in where there are aspects of us as women that are misunderstood by different types of people. I think there are different cultures in the world where the way that, women are perceived in those cultures sometimes are misunderstood by people who do not come from those cultures. That doesn't mean that I'm not acknowledging the fact that there are some disadvantages in the world that women go through. No doubt about it. And like I mentioned, it's because there have been times in our world where laws that have been made or rules that have been made have just put women in certain positions.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's how we were created from the beginning. I don't think we were created to be placed in a disadvantaged position. And I think as a woman, when you take your time to get to know yourself, to allow yourself to grow, to evolve, because when you're younger, naturally, your mind is not at a point where you understand certain things. So as you grow, I think that helps. So yeah, I don't think women are misunderstood now, personally.
All right. Maybe I have some convincing to make. I may not need to, but one thing you said about how a woman can find herself by connecting to God, because it is God that created a woman and God knows, who actually a woman is.
Yeah.
The problem that we have in the world now is, I also share some biblical insight because, yes, I'm a Christian and God created a man first before a woman. So everything a woman was and everything a woman had and everything a woman knew, it was a man that showed a woman. And that has not changed. That was not meant to change. And I also, say again that I'm a feminist, so nobody should take my insight as...
Sorry, just before we go on, wouldn't you guys want to know what Akoto means when he says he's a feminist?
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier.
What do you mean when you say
when I say I'm
a feminist?
It means I'm on a side of women on every issue. However, I'm not a woman, so I cannot tell women what they are. I can only tell them what they are not.
Can't you just say that you support women instead of putting that term on yourself that
you're
a feminist?
I need that because I need that to put whatever, because I tend to be on the side of women a lot, and people think being a feminist is a wrong thing, and now many men think feminists who are women are turning women against men, and that is wrong. They are not talking out of anything they do not know or they do not feel. How this feminism came about is how women feel like they've been brought down. So when they came out, they came with some anger and rage. So it takes some men to understand these women and communicate with other men that these women are not maybe communicating with you correctly. So I can communicate what a woman thinks to a man in a manly way. So what I'm going to say now, I'm going to lay more emphasis of what men are, which is good for their ego.
Yeah.
Then I'll chip in across. I'll try to put across exactly what women expect from them. So what I mentioned about how men were created first was the order. God created a man, took just one rib and made a woman. That is Christianity. I don't know whatever religion that you are listening to is in. You could have your own stories, but from search to, there is no religion that even says that a woman was created before a man. That is a fact. Women are not competing against that. So in that case, men showed women things. And it has been like that even to now. And we all know that physically men were created and built in a way that women do not come close in terms of strength. Nobody's going to lie. Yes, there are women who can, beat men, but on a good day, for the same height, the same level of muscles, yeah. And women don't even want to be like, they don't even want to sound like they are beaters, yeah. I'm talking about a competition. Not like an abusive relationship. In a competition, when you bring the same caliber of woman and the same caliber of man, nobody is going to think the man is less powerful in terms of strength. So we all know that. That's another fact. And back to my feminism again, I always tell men who they are. I tell women who they are. Then I tell men what women expect from them. So it has been like that. So when we started creating jobs, when God asked, when men sinned, people sinned, and God was telling them what they were going to do. God told Eve what she needed to do as a repercussion of the sin, and God told the man that he's going to work. A woman was never told to work. Good. So
that's that.
Yeah, and it's difficult. So it's some things, some of the challenges we are having in the world are seen as challenges because we are refusing to think about what is the basics. So men started doing work. They started farming, subsistence farming, commercial farming. Industrialization came. So when men think of getting people to work, who do they call?
Men.
Yeah. Nobody's changing this. So it was a natural rhetoric for men to call men to work. They did not call men to work to say that women cannot work.
Yeah.
They called men to work because all they knew was when it comes to work, it is men that work. So wouldn't it be good when there is work to do and I don't call you, I do the work, bring all the money in the food home, and we all share it?
But then, sorry, I think your understanding of work then will be different because there's that perspective as well that you may be going out to do the farming, but the woman is at home looking after the children. Isn't that a form of work?
Yeah, exactly. So what women are fighting for comes across to men as they are fighting for work positions, things that men do, and also asking men to come and also do things they believe women do. So naturally, when men were out there working, women were in home, taking care of themselves. In the case where there were children, taking care of the children. And that was work. Men did not come to say, I've done so much work. Let me also take care of myself and the children, go to work. That never happened. Until women started saying that, no, this is not the work we think we should do. We think we should also work, which I agree. Why? Because some men are foolish. They go out there, they don't bring the money home. They go out there, they don't bring the food home. So it is men that made women started thinking that they also needed jobs. I'm a feminist, so this is how I communicate how women feel. So if there was ever a female feminist, it was because a man slept on the job. A man became a cheat. A man refused to take care of a woman. A man started having properties and they refused to acknowledge that the property belonged to themselves and the women.
Surprisingly, I don't know if you've ever read anything about the suffragettes. Have you ever heard of the suffragettes?
No, I've not heard of
it. They are some of the kind of like women that started first wave feminism in the Western, so in the UK, in the US, how feminism was started right from the beginning. And some of the things that, come up in conversations around feminism, especially back in the day, was women not being able to own properties,
Mm.
women not being able to vote,
Mm-hmm.
women, literally being treated like they were the properties of their husbands.
Men, yeah, they're subjects. Yeah.
So I get that point, but I'm not gonna talk on the feminism bit too much because I have a completely different view of feminism. And to be honest with you, my views on feminism has evolved over time. So the view that I have now, I don't know. I don't think I want to share that today.
Okay. All right. Then
I don't know what you guys think. If you want me to share my view on feminism, let me know. But I think for now I'll leave it. But I don't call myself a feminist.
Okay.
There was a point in time when I used to call myself a feminist.
Okay.
And I no longer call myself a feminist for and I have reasons for it. But I get where you're coming from in the sense that men are probably the cause of men feeling the way that we're feeling.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a point to it. But at the same time, I think I would also just blame society in general. And when I say society, I mean everyone in it.
Okay.
We are all to blame for the way that women feel about themselves sometimes, because you gave the example of Adam and Eve when they sinned and the consequences God gave them. And I'm going to assume that right from there was an understanding that this was what Eve was going to do. This was what Adam was going to do. It was working. So as time has gone on, I don't know what happened for things to change again. Because if it was working then, what happened? And for me personally, I would say that continuous sin was probably one of them. Human beings were evolving. We were becoming more, I think, clever, if I should use that word. We were developing more. Our minds were opening up about different things. And that's the thing with when our minds are opening up to new things, how we understand them and how it affects the things that we already know.
Right.
So, let's say, for example, we go from this whole farming thing to an industrial world where we're no longer going to farm, but we're actually going into a factory to work.
Okay.
If a man goes into a factory to work 12 hours and he comes back home, what's the first thing that's going to be on his mind? He's tired. He wants to rest. In his mind, is he thinking that, but that same 12 hours I've been away working, my wife or this woman that's in the house has been looking after the children, like you said, there are children in the home, or has been looking after the house, has been cooking the whole day, has been cleaning. Those thoughts may not come to your mind. Someone who's tired, they may not be thoughts of acknowledgement in their mind. Maybe they are tired, they want to rest.
Okay.
So sometimes these are things that come to mind. So what would make a man then think, I'm tired, and whatever you've been doing, it's not that important, so attend to me and let's forget about everything you've been doing for that same 12 hours. Do you get it? So sometimes I feel like we ourselves in general, we haven't really acknowledged the roles and purposes that God created women for, which is why I lean more towards that complementarian view, because I feel like if we have that view that women and men are meant to complement each other, we are not to compete against each other. And personally, I have the view that as a woman, there are certain things that God has created me to do in different seasons of my life. So as a wife, there are certain things that God would want me to do in my marriage. As a mother, there are certain things that God would want me to do, bringing up the children that he has given my family. And there may be different things that he wants my husband to do as the head of our family. Someone may have a different view, but I think it's important to acknowledge the source of the views that we have. Like you mentioned before, we are Christians. So our views may be different to what a woman is, or whether women are misunderstood, because the source of those views comes from God. But then at the same time, I think there's that underlying foundation, like you said, where that understanding needs to be laid that women and men, or even women, we are human beings just like men, and we need to be treated as such.
Such, yeah.
And sometimes that misunderstanding is there.
Yeah.
And even now, I think that there are times when I'll be out, and sometimes the look I get from a man, and I don't really see myself as someone who dresses provocatively,
yeah,
or whatever you'd like to call it. But sometimes there are certain looks you get from men, and I just think to myself, why?
Yeah,
you know. And so sometimes you may get those thoughts that, you know, does he see me as a human being? Does this person see me as a human, like the way I'm seeing them as a human? And I think even in situations of like abuse and, you know, mistreatment of women, sometimes though that could be the underlying reason. Maybe a man is not thinking of that woman he is abusing as a human being, because if you see that person as a human like yourself, why would you be doing that to them?
Yeah,
you know. So I think that's like the underlying understanding that we all need to have.
Yeah,
women and men are the same, and if women are misunderstood, I think we need to take time to understand ourselves first of all. I think men and everyone in society need to take time to understand, like you said, about the hormones, because I actually feel like that plays a part for me anyway. Yeah. And I think in general, just understanding that, you know, women, it takes us time.
Yeah.
We're different from men, and it takes us time to do certain things. So I think we need to be given that room as well. Room.
Yeah. And I'm happy you just brought that in, because you earlier mentioned you earlier mentioned that women and men are the same. I was just going to interject that I know what you mean, but we are the same as in we are human beings.
Yeah.
But we are not the same as people. Yeah. We are totally different people. If we were the same, God could have created another man.
Yeah.
Yeah. He knew what he created a woman for.
Yeah.
So men and women are not the same. I know what you mean. I'm not just denying what you said, but we are not the same, apart from we all being human beings, 100%, and we all need to be respected as human beings. That is legit. Yeah. So that said, it means that men have to understand who women are. Men only grew to just know that women are the weaker versions. And that is eating into their brains to the extent that they don't want to see women in higher places. And that is wrong.
Yeah.
That is so wrong. Let me give an example of, let's say, the world we are in. Let's say in the West and let's say in the developing countries. It is very easy for somebody in the West to see somebody from a developing country, or let's say Africa, most parts of Africa, that they cannot achieve heights. But there are rich men in Africa that are so rich,
so many,
than people living in the West. You get it?
Yeah.
So it's just like putting men and women to contest. Yes, women might not be strong physically like we are. Women have hormones that flare up most of the time. They do go through menstrual periods, which make them not very effective as they would even want to be. But they can achieve things that men cannot achieve.
Fine.
So when you acknowledge their limitations, that is when you rather support them to what? Give them room to what? Operate. So in a typical business where you expect men to do, like, let's say 10 pieces of workload, if you are reasonable as a man, you have to give women, let's say 5, 6, or 7. So the woman's KPI, if you don't know, the corporate world is key performance indicator. Whatever you use to measure a woman's success in operating in her role should be less than a man. And I know many women even don't want this. Many women don't want to be seen as they are expected to do less. But that is a fact.
Because it sounds like you can't
it makes them
the same as a man.
And it's because of the society, because they just want to prove themselves that they can do more. But look, a woman cannot perform on a normal day a full month like a man, because you have menstrual cycle.
Dennis, sorry, do you know how tiring it feels to always feel like you have to prove yourself to people?
It's so difficult,
as a woman, I've been in that position before. It is so tiring. So honestly.
So let's say you're on a row, you're on the same row or same grade of with a man at work. This man has no estrogen, no hormonal imbalances, no menstruations. he shows up at work every day fully fit, 20 days in a month. 5 out of that, you are having issues. 5 out of that, you wake up and you don't even want to work. Sometimes even 7. And the annoying thing is, the moment a woman gets out of this cycle, she is in her menopause.
Yeah.
If she's not menstruating, she is pregnant. So almost all the time, a woman is not where a man is. But a man wakes up and all they need is to think about what they need to do and they are on, unless they are sick. So this is what, if men understood, they wouldn't have put women in the position where they feel like they have to prove themselves. So now, even at workplaces, when you want women to do less work, they want to tell you like, no, if you want me to do less work, you're trying to tell me that I'm weak, I'm feeble, so I want to do more. And it is breaking a woman. Many men have their homes broken because they are trying to put up very high demanding, roles at work, and it affects how they feel. It affects how they tend to, play their role at home.
Okay,
let me give
just a question on that. So what do you think then about women who don't desire to have children, they don't desire to have marriages, like single women that their only desire is to pursue career and just keep building that? Would that apply to them as well? Because
they will make the world a better place, because if a woman does not desire to have kids and they have kids, it will be disastrous. Even women who desire to have kids get depression, postnatal depression, even after realizing the overwhelming nature of raising kids. Let's not women who do not desire. God did not put any mandate on a woman to be judged by the number of kids they had, or even if they married at all. Marriage does not make you righteous. Marriage does not make you affable. Having children does not make you righteous or affable. What makes you a person is functioning in a good way, being a good person. So if a woman decides to work and not marry, so be it. If a woman decides to work and not have kids, so be it.
But would that same thing apply to them, where if they're given less work and they feel like they're not being treated the same as the man? Would that, because that woman that is not desiring to have kids or get married, they still menstruate.
Yeah.
They still go through that same hormonal things. So would it still be the same for them?
Yeah, so the thing is, if you are giving a woman less work to do, you don't give them less salary. So if I am working with a lady and my boss is saying, okay, I think you are stronger, you have no issues, you're going to do 10 out of 17, the woman is going to do 7 out of 10. They should not pay the woman 7 over 10 times the man's salary.
But
they
someone
should pay the
would
woman.
say,
that is a problem.
You know, let me share this with you. Someone once said to me that why, and this was back in the day when I was very strong on kind of
feminism. Say it, I mean, don't be afraid. I'm a feminist, so I get it.
And a man said to me that, oh, but why do you expect to get the same salary as me when I work every day?
That's it.
I'm never gonna take time off. I'm not, and he was like, you're probably gonna take years off to go and raise children. I'm never gonna do that. Why do you expect to get the same salary as me? I mean, I was just like, really? But
yeah, I mean, it's reasonable, to be fair. I'm not gonna lie. Research has shown that women business leaders employ the least women. Why? Because they are women. They know how, in quote, unproductive their gender can be when it comes to getting work done. So rather, women business leaders rather employ more men than women.
Wow.
So
I didn't know that.
What the guy said is the bare truth. We are not going to lie. I am just advocating that if you're going to let a woman do less work, still pay them as much as you pay the man, because that is how you are appreciating their inabilities. Because if I'm going to let you do less work and I pay you less, I've not appreciated it. The only way I can appreciate it is say that I'm paying this person 10, they are doing 10 units of work. I'm paying you 10, but you're doing 7 or 6 units of work. But people are not doing that because it doesn't make sense in business. So if you were a business leader and you are laying, let's say you took a contract to lay rails, a railway construction site, and you have a timeline. They've given you the budget. The work needs to get done. You need to employ 10 people to do. Let me ask you this typical question. You know that this thing has to take a month and you cannot waste any hour. Would you employ men who will be showing up every day, or employ women who will be out a week in that month, given the circumstances of the contract?
I don't want to answer that.
No, I mean, you're not, I mean, just be
Yeah.
reasonable. Just say it.
For more productivity, I would.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So sometimes it is not just men who are putting women in a tight corner. It is business needs. So when you go to a company and you see more men, it is not that men hate women. Business needs require that the work needs to get done, and who can get it done. That is it. So when women start thinking like this, that's why I said my bit of femininity is to let women understand who they are not. They should understand that there is an industry that wants to get work done. They don't care about gender. So if I'm a business leader and I'm going to employ 10 people, and I know when I put half of this, labor force, up as women, I am never going to make it. I'm not going to get my next contract, or I'm not going to get paid. What would I do? So there, it is not about a man and a woman. It's about getting business done, getting cash flowing. So when you understand all of these things, then it tells you that originally, women were not created to work. And I always say it without equivocation. But I also understand that it is unreasonable for women not to work now. Because like you said, many women they never even get married, and they need to fend for themselves, for their parents, for whoever they are with in terms of relationships. So that is also a key. And when we understand these things, then women will not fight for positions that they are not in. For instance, when there's a position at work that needs a year of commitment, no, off days, or let's say even if weekends are off, no long-term off days, and you are a woman, you are married, you want to have a baby in that year, you can't take that position. If you take it, you can't have a child. So naturally, it tells you that you are not available all the time.
Yeah.
However, these are common sense. These are facts. This is not from me. A man can just go and take it, because even if his wife gets pregnant, he can show up.
Yeah.
So this is what women compromise even to get work done. So when men understand these things, they give women maternity leave. They don't put tight restrictions on how work should be done, because it will definitely affect women. So when you go to workplaces as a woman, the first thing you should look out for is how much they pay you for maternity leave, how long you can stay away for. What is the consideration for women? If you don't take care of this, if you don't take notice of these things, and you just go on with the mentality to strike and work like a man, you are breaking yourself. Because when you get your menses, when you get pregnant, when you get menopause, it is you and yourself. But if you put the expectation out there that yes, you can work tirelessly, it will show.
Yeah.
I think a vice president in West Africa said, when the fundamentals are weak, the exchange rate will expose you. When in this case, I'm not going to mention names. In this case, when the hormones start flaring up, it will show.
Yeah.
So I really want women to understand that men are at fault because they do not understand who they are, how their systems work, and what expectation they can have of them. However, they should also know that there is a world out there which was created in a way that did not consider them to be in workforce.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to put this away. Anybody can challenge this. Yes, and our viewers, you can put comments down that if the world was created naturally for women to work or not. Women were not created to work. They were created to be taken care of. They were created to be pampered. Men were created to work, go out there, do everything, bring all the money home for women to control the money. Yes, women should control the money because a man should be busy out there. A man should be busy out making money. Women should be home, managing, sorting things out. This is very, old, but I'm not saying now it should happen. But that is how the world was created.
Yeah.
So we are always going to have the challenge of women not feeling worthy enough to do the work men do, or men not seeing them as, good enough, because that is not how it was created. So this thing is never going to go on.
No, yeah.
But we, the feminists, are always going to manage it. we're going to manage people's expectations, because as long as women are going to endeavor to work, there is always going to be that challenge.
Yeah.
As long as men or businesses also want businesses done on time, there's always going to be that challenge. But we need to communicate to understand and just do some bit of stakeholder management. Thank you.
Okay, so to round up, because we could talk about this forever.
Yeah,
this
forever.
topic is is really broad. And I think maybe in later episodes, we could probably come back and talk about specific things about womanhood or being a woman and being a man as well. I think we will need to talk about that. But I think to round up for this episode, I wanted to ask you, Dennis, and please, just literally under 1 minute, aside from your wife and your mom, who is one of your favorite women and why? Aside from your wife and your mom, because those are just, aside from those two women in your life, who is one of your most favorite women and why?
That I think you are just locking me up. I don't have another person. So there is this woman in my wife. You understand? And do you know that woman?
Who's that woman?
The girl in my wife. For us men, even if we are 100 years age and we are married, we still see that girl in our partners, in our wives. So there is this other woman that is a girl, and that woman shows up when I sense vulnerability. I sense somebody needs me.
Wow.
I sense somebody wants me to protect them. I sense somebody wants me to provide for them. And I mean, I don't know, men, you are there listening. That is how men feel. Men feel they are important when women depend on them. I mean, you can say whatever you want to say, but that's how men feel. Ask any man. If any man says I'm lying, I'm lying. That's what we want. So aside mom, wife, there is this woman in my wife. I can't have that in my mom because my mom can't be girlish around me. That makes me feel like a man. So that is my next favorite woman.
Okay.
Yeah.
The last question is, I'm sure you're probably going to have a daughter one day. And one advice you give to your daughter about what it means to be a woman?
First of all, I'll ask them I don't even just ask them. I need to show them what God says about women, the expectation of women. Then I also would let them know clearly that they need the support of a man. That is one thing many parents don't tell their daughters. They grow them, go to school so that no man can bluff on you. Go to school. No. That's not why you're going to school. You're going to school to be a better woman, to attract a better man. You understand? So I'll let my daughters know that, look, there is a space out there that a man needs to fill. There is work around the home that a man needs to do. There are heights on the ceiling that a man needs to stand and what? Let me tell you, if a man falls from 20 meters and a woman falls from 20 meters, biologically, the damages are different. There is no breast that is busting. That is so true. You get it? I won't lie to you. From the same height, men and women will fall. Men will get up. Women will still be lying down. I will let my daughter know that, look, you are strong as a woman, but you are weak when compared to a man. You cannot be a man. So I will school them. I will educate them not to compete against men, but to be better women, to attract even higher men or men who they think they deserve. And that should be it.
Great. Thank you all for joining us.
I hope you're not stunned. Did you expect something different?
No, but those were really interesting answers. And I pray that one day when your daughters are here, they will get to see this. They'll be like, wow, our dad really thought about us. But thank you all so much for joining in today's episode. We hope that you've enjoyed the conversation on being a woman and whether they are misunderstood. Shout outs to all the women out there that watch us. And, this is a sensitive topic, but at the same time, a really interesting one. And you may have different views to us, and that is absolutely fine. But we still want to know what you think. So share with us in the comments below, or if you're watching on Spotify, if you're listening on Spotify, let us know what you think about what we've discussed today as well. And we will see you in episode 3. Unless, Dennis, you have anything else to say?
What I'm saying is, if you hear you hate women, you think women are subjects and women are not worth what they do not subscribe to our channel. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you all for watching and listening, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.